You may be wondering, is this even real? I never wanted to be a targeted individual. Well, no matter how crazy it gets, there's always a few things that the targeted individual knows are still real. That'd be the fear, the loneliness, the confusion, the pain. Yeah, targeted individuals are taken to extremes. They are taken to the edge and beyond. They are exposed and subjected to the raw, unadulterated evil and corruption of this world that other people just don't know about. With the exception of the perps and the masterminds. Well, of course, they know. And they have a motive. And it's not always the same. There is a basic equation or format in this that I think all targeted individuals can relate to. And surrounding the target with chaos. Infiltrating their mind with trauma, creating a labyrinth of associations, sensitizing and triggering the individual, hijacking and illegitimizing the external stimuli, pushing you into their maze of lies and deception, with the intent of shackling and dragging you into an isolated abyss of harassment. Sometimes it's to experiment, other times it's simply to feed. Others want to vent. Some people want control. While others, they do it to satisfy the perverted fetishes of their sadistic nature. With all that said, there's still good news, believe it or not, at least for the targeted individual. And that is that you are moving towards the end of this. Yeah, there is a day when this will be over, and you are moving towards it. And for the perpetrators, well, they are moving towards the beginning of their nightmare. Both are inevitable. As a targeted individual, you are moving towards the light at the end of the tunnel. They are moving away from that. And, you know, there are still a lot of things to be thankful for. It is Thanksgiving. And sometimes I forget that. It's easy to become hyper-focused. And one of the strategies in gangstalking is to do that. You become distracted, you become hyper-focused. Your emotional equilibrium gets thrown off, and you're easily manipulated at that point. The masterminds of this type of activity know that. They understand that if an individual is experiencing pain, isolation, torture, things that are unpleasant, the time seems to drag on. And this is nothing more than an equation. And I always mention in my videos that when you get harassed, it doesn't matter what it is, workplace harassment, street theater, directed conversations, unorthodox behavior, whatever it is, you don't want to react. You don't want to let on like you even notice it, okay? Because the more aggressive it gets, the easier it's going to be on you, okay? Because one of the main goals of this stuff is to gaslight you, and I've talked about it 1,000 times. It's very aggressive and obvious. You're supposed to notice it at first, and then it gradually becomes more covert. The target becomes sensitized. Associations are formed, and then they just drive you nuts. And anybody who experiences this stuff is going to make mistakes. Okay. So you're going to catch yourself reading into something or sitting around wondering, was that gang stalking? Does that, it's just part of the game. And the last thing you want is for them to, get an upper hand and try to make you think you're losing it. Okay? Because really when it comes down to it, you have to work off the protocol of zero effect. Okay? When you're dealing with a situation that is out of your control, it just makes sense to kind of let things go a little bit. Because all you're going to do is grind metal. Okay, you're just going to wear yourself out. And they're doing a good job of that. Don't help them. Okay? It's like getting in a fight with a 100-foot tall invisible man. All right? It's not going to work. And trying to explain to other people what's going on is going to be futile because they're going to think you're nuts. They can't see it. And gang stalking is the same way. You're getting chased around by a giant that's invisible because it's hidden. You got to make a sandcastle and just hope you get to enjoy it long enough for it to be significant for you before he comes and smashes it. And that's what it feels like to be a targeted individual. And then when it happens, you have to follow protocol. You don't try to pick up the pieces, you move on. You don't look back, you don't react, you don't try to get a reaction out of the 100-foot tall giant invisible man. You don't try to kick it in the foot. You just walk away and do it again because you don't have a choice. And I run into a lot of people that think that by a means of therapy, confronting something and getting into it and dealing with all these things and delving into something and focusing on it is going to help you get over it. Well, all I have to say is this: if that helps you, you can do whatever you want. But from my experience, the sooner it gets out of your head, the better. Okay, the sooner you let something go, it has a less of an effect on you. It's not putting a stranglehold on your emotions. It's not hindering you. You're not spending any time worrying about it. It's not taking anything away from you. It's going to pop up, okay, whatever that situation is. And when it does, you just use that protocol and drop it. Because, I'm going to be honest with you, as a targeted individual who's experienced this stuff for decades, one of the biggest things that comes after me is when you start going down memory lane, when you start to remember all the things that have happened. And it can be that way, whether it's in the middle of the night, or whether you're getting attacked, or whether you have lateral comparisons that pop up, and you have that little voice that says, "Oh, look, all these other people, they have good lives. Look at you. Oh man, you've been dealing with this for decades. Gosh, you can start feeling sorry for yourself. You start getting bitter. You start getting worked up, and then of course, what's going to happen? Well, you're primed. You are primed for the attack." And targeted individuals experience those a lot more frequently than just regular citizens, okay? And they're setting you up that way. And when it happens, if you have that emotional energy behind it, who knows? I mean, it might not even be gang stalking. It could be anything. And, it's a powder keg. Your life as a targeted individual is like being the manager of a nuclear power plant. You have to prevent the meltdown. You have to stop it from getting to critical mass. You're dealing with things that other people don't even know about. And when it comes to, your emotional energy, that's a primary target. And it fits the modus operandi of gang stalkers. That's the mind control. They distract you. They get you worked up. They get you hyper-focused. And then, they just watch you go. Right? A chicken with his head cut off, and they will use all kinds of situational appropriation and expectations to get that sense of injustice built up where they create the tension. Well, if you were dealing with the stuff, you'd really mess up too, and it's not. Of course they would. Of course it's unfair. Okay? There's no chivalry in gang stalking. They don't play by the rules. Don't have the expectation, that people are going to hold to a standard. It's a mistake I made a long time. Well, they're not going to do that. They will. They will do it. They will cross the line. They already have. And I hear a lot of people, because they get into this whole thing and they try to connect dots. They try to find significance. Why is this stuff happening to me? Okay, well, what's going on? The world can't be that evil. People really aren't trying to drive me crazy. They just got to be trying to help me. No, they're not. But they'll tell you that because they want you to internalize the condemnation, and they will pick areas of your life where you have character defects or whatever, and then when they're done, the whole thing is your fault. Well, if you just would have figured it out, you just don't catch on, do you? Oh, you messed up, and it's all you, and somehow it's justified, and the whole thing falls on your shoulders. It's gaslighting. It's complete 100% a mind game. These people aren't trying to help you. Whether you're dealing with a drug addiction or some type of, whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. You've been out of work, or we just want to make you a better... No. They don't care. It's a simple methodology to get you to internalize these things and hate yourself, right? It's the same as the obvious surveillance, right? Once a targeted individual believes that eyes are on them all the time, even their thoughts are being monitored, they start scrutinizing themselves. Oh, that was dumb. Why did I think of that? Oh, I should have done this. I should have... And you're attacking yourself. That's the modus operandi of these people that are after you. They want you to hate yourself. They want you to be critical of yourself. They want you to internalize all these things and take the blame for everything that they're doing. And it's really that simple. Oh, it's because you have an addiction. Oh, it's because we want you to learn how to work better. Oh, we're just trying to help you. We're trying to make you stronger. We're really agents of God, and we're just, getting the yeast out of your life. No. God can use that. He could do something like that, but they don't care. They don't care about you. They don't care about any of those things. They just want you to internalize all this stuff and feel like crap, right? And then, on top of it, they want you to be confused. Well, if you guys are really trying to help me, how come you don't let me live my life? Because they don't want you to live your life. They don't want you to succeed. They want you under a bridge somewhere. They want you in a back alley. They want you to put a gun to your head. They want you to just give up or go out in the country and die or whatever. They don't care. They're not trying to refine you. They're not trying to put you in a place where you're going to succeed. They are evil. Okay? Gaslighting 101. That's all that is. And it all starts with the emotional manipulation. Okay? I've talked about a lot of different areas. You can get into the disinformation. It's the same thing. It's mind control, right? You have the individual who's now hyper-focused and distracted and emotional. And they're trying to connect the dots. Your brain works that way. Whether you're consciously doing it or not, your brain is desperately trying to figure out why these things are happening. And they know it. You mix a little bit of covert drugging or something like that, or you get somebody who's got a substance abuse problem, and then it just adds to it. And I've been talking a lot about the gang-stalking psychosis. That's what they want. It's mind control, right? They want you to be susceptible to their suggestions, whether it's to internalize the condemnation, to accept the disinformation and make yourself look nuts. That's what they want. One of the other dilemmas that targeted individuals are faced with is, how do they get help? What do you do? What do you tell people? How do you deal with all the frustration? How do you process it? I think it follows the same protocol of zero effect, right? First of all, you've got a problem, and I've heard people talk about, well, let's get a march, let's get a voice for targeted individuals, let's rampage through the streets or whatever. But you know what? You have a problem there too, and I understand that the people who are feeling that, I understand how they feel, and I understand they have good intentions. But, you've got a problem. First, you have, two sides of the coin. You have 1% of the population that knows about it. You have the other percentage of people who don't know about it. And then you have a split, because the people who don't know about it, there's a huge majority of them that if they found out, they wouldn't want to know. They would pretend like it wasn't there, because they've got to live their lives too. And just like targeted individuals, they just start getting frustrated. And who wants to be attacked by an angry hive of hornets, right? That's what you're dealing with. All you have to do is look at workplace harassment or some other type of microcosmic event that involves gang stalking to see what would happen if a larger percentage of the population was involved. Same thing. Okay? There are probably a lot of people in your scenario who know what's going on, who don't agree with what's happening to you, who don't want to be part of it, that are, they're just between a rock and a hard place. And you can involve as many people as you want, but that social dynamic is going to be there, because the 100-foot tall invisible man, he's not backing down. The hive of individuals that you are dealing with in one fashion, form, or another live off this stuff, and they can always use more victims. It's not a problem for them. Conformity is a harsh reality, and it's not to say there aren't good people out there. I think the majority, though, would just as soon barbecue you. Okay? When you have expectations or a type of norm or proposition in your mind that this is fair or this is what's going on, you have to remember that as a targeted individual, as someone who is experiencing gang stalking, that couldn't be further from the truth, right? You know this stuff is illegal. You know it's not fair. You know it's not just, right? But it's happening. It's happening in plain sight. And there are a lot of people that are complicitly going along with it. Okay? So for you to have, the propositions that you used to before you were exposed to this, or the supposed propositions and norms that are out there in the mainstream that people are, I guess, holding to or would expect to encounter in their life, would be ridiculous, because it's obviously not true. It's obviously not realistic. And when you open yourself up that way, you could be manipulated. It's not fair. Oh, you wouldn't believe what I'm dealing with. Oh my gosh, Oh, yeah, it's there. And like I said, you're the one that really has to deal with it. And the best way is just pretend like it's not happening and try to spare yourself the drama. I'll explain it this way. I know someone who really, honestly, truly cares about me. You know who that is? It's me. Me, I do. And if somebody else doesn't care, fine. If people are not going to help me, yeah, okay. If you're going to get gang stalked, you're going to figure that out. Okay, you have to be realistic. If not, that just opens you up to emotional manipulation. Oh, but if I lose my faith in humanity, I'll lose hope. No, you're just going to be realistic. You're going to be someone who's just waking up. It's a deliverance. It's a fundamental reality. And you've got plenty of hope as a targeted individual. It's the people that are doing this stuff that need to worry, not you. They are storing up for themselves something that's very, very bad. You got to remember that. I hope that this video has helped you out. I make these videos to comfort targeted individuals, to give them affirmation and guidance through this nightmare of harassment. And just to give you guys a little bit of an update, I went and bought a Honda CR-V. Of course, I had to get into a ridiculous auto loan. It's a used one. It's an older one. But they're fairly reliable vehicles. And the insurance company finally took responsibility and accepted liability, but they're still playing games with me. They won't pay for the rental car. They haven't cut me a check. They're giving me the runaround. I can't afford this stuff. I've literally spent all my money. I had to file 3 claims, and finally they got with it. But it's not looking good, and the depreciation on that vehicle I was driving, it's going to be a pretty low amount of compensation, not to mention the fact that I just spent $3,000 fixing it. Oh, man. Well, guys, if you could find it in your heart to help me, if you have, the means to do it, that is. I understand that we're in tough times, and, I want to keep making these videos. I want to keep fighting for you. And I know that you'll fight for me if you can. I'll put a link in there. Be good to yourselves. Be safe.